everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and Soundcloud, and now topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Catch updates about the podcast, or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice, listed in the description below. I'm your GM, overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian, joined tonight by the Dark Fortune Duelist Meta.
Yar. That's about all I got.
Feeling super piratey today.
You know it.
The Wall That Will Not Fall, Tetsuo.
Yar har.
And the resident wildcard Mal.
Hello, everyone.
We're sticking the crabs together. Mal's back at the end. Back where you belong.
Oh.
Now I sound like one of those Yasuki Taskmasters, right? No one's probably going to know what that is unless you play the RPG. I'm the guy with the lip like cracking peasants on the back.
We know what you meant, Oz, and that's all that matters.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
How's everyone else been this week?
Busy.
Very, yeah.
I bought a Switch.
Days.
Yeah, Mal bought a Switch.
My first Nintendo console that wasn't.
Well, it's a handheld anyways,
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You didn't really buy a console.
They were in stock for minutes on Amazon.
Sounds about right.
You were one of the lucky few to get one. Did you get the gray or the neon?
Gray.
My boy.
I think that was all. I didn't really check if the other one was available. It didn't really matter.
Did you get the colored controllers, or did you get like all flat?
No, just gray.
Okay.
See, I kind of like the yellow one, actually. I just want my controller things to match on the side. I don't like the one blue and one red. It looks like a pack of Sour Patch Kids or whatever.
Orange and teal. That's the complementary colors on all movie posters.
And what game did you get for that?
Just Zelda so far. My first Zelda.
How are you liking Zelda?
Pretty fun.
How far have you gotten?
I mean, it's through the story. I've eaten
wise,
just the one divine beast. I've been exploring a lot. We got about half the map explored, or towers lit up.
You're already farther than us.
Been running around them hills of Hyrule.
Yep, climbing up the towers, jumping off.
Getting caught in the rain, sitting there, not doing anything.
I hate that. That needs to be changed.
When the rain happens, I always just went around and hunted monsters to get, or like wolves or birds or stuff just to get food.
When I want to hunt, I get on a horse and charge at things.
I never rode a horse that
Classic
much.
unicorn.
Exactly. Classic.
Because if you
unicorn.
hit something, if you hit like a wolf or a bird with a horse, they just die.
I never rode my horse because I couldn't get a good one. I caught like 3 and none of them had good stats. So I was like, I'll just teleport everywhere.
If you have the Twilight Zelda or Link amiibo, you can just get Epona.
Yeah.
Amiibo strats.
I caught a horse that was 434 in stats. So
wow.
Nice.
Really good.
Yeah. It took me like 20 minutes to like just calm it down.
Shh, there. I'm only going to use you as a mount for the rest of your life.
Anywho.
Speaking of good stats, we got some new cards this week for L5R, didn't we?
Yes,
That's
we did.
okay. Nobody
That's
wants
a
to
nice
talk about
experience.
this clan.
We're
Nobody
not-
wants to talk about this clan.
Yeah, no one wants to talk about the dragon.
Let's go on to the next subject.
How like overwhelmingly good their stats are. Because I've been proxying some games. I've got 5 games of experience under my belt right now. That's a very small sample size.
With a very
Does it really
tiny
count?
deck size.
Yeah.
Don't even account for like a half of one deck.
Yeah. But now
Already
we got
we're
some
building that.
crabs, don't we, Mal?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell us about some crab cards?
All right. First up, we've got Haruma Yojimbo for 2 Fate is a 4/3 with 2 Glory.
So good.
Yeah. Bushi.
When you
Yojimbo.
when you just first hear those stats, you're like, okay, that's super busted right there.
Right.
Yeah.
There must be a drawback, and that is it cannot be declared as an attacker.
Oh no, the crab can't be
defender.
declared as attacker.
I don't. Was there I assume there was a version of a keyword for this in the last game.
No, there wasn't.
No,
Some characters
no.
just, it was basically the same phrasing. Some characters just couldn't attack. Some couldn't defend.
Yeah. In Magic, it's just Defender.
Yep.
She's one of the few cards I think that also actually has glory on her. Crab. At least from the,
That's
at least from what we've
it's
seen
pretty
from
high
sample.
for the crab.
Yeah, 2 is really high for Crab. Most of them have 1 or 0.
Yeah.
What news there for glory on the wall?
Exactly.
Well, when it helps buff your stats, there's a lot of.
I mean, you got a point. I got to give you that.
Exactly. Dude, she's great.
Yeah.
4-3. Yojimbo. So it makes sense for them to have a little bit of political skill. This is still really good, ahead of the curve for 2. Obviously, you can't have her as an attacker, but Crab are all about this kind of counter punch style of taking your opponent's provinces. You're going to want to have a good defense, and she is and you can use her to basically leave your better suited, more attacky, rushy style characters as attackers, and she's just a way for you to defend.
What sells her for me is actually the fact that she has 3 political. That's one of the highest values we see for Crab.
Out of the ones we've seen so far, it is the highest number of crab.
I don't think anyone's higher than a 3.
When I say that's the highest, when I say anything like this is the best of this is only from the sample size that we have. Not. From
We've got most of the cards at this point for the crab.
Yeah, most of them, but I don't think anyone's going to be above a 3 for them.
Not in the core.
Yeah.
Maybe when we get
maybe there'll be a Yasuki guy.
There might be. Power creep. It'll happen eventually.
Well, different style of decks too. Will eventually.
Yeah.
But as of current, what we're seeing right here, she's
probably going to see a lot of political defending.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd bring her along. Plus, that glory just means that she can go up to a 5 political, and that's godsend.
Can't talk. Political skill is harder to come by too, is what we've kind of learned and what they've said in their live Facebook videos. So 3 is like, I'd say it pretty much equates to like a 4 in military.
Yeah.
So she's really good.
Yeah.
Fairly solid, yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Haruma Ambusher. He is 2 fate for a 2/2 Bushi Scout, 0 glory, and he has a reaction that after this character enters play as a defender, choose a character. That character's abilities cannot be triggered during this conflict.
Oh baby,
that is so good.
He is obviously his ability already leads you to. He's a conflict character and he's 1 influence. But yeah.
Oh baby.
He shuts down some really big hitters. I mean, just
the champions.
The champions.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's incredible.
Yep, he's generally your best first action.
Yeah.
Now it's only during this conflict, so if your opponent's playing against Crab, they're probably going to assume that if you got 2 fate open, I might walk into Haruma Ambusher if I'm going into conflict. I might want to use all my abilities that are actual bull-faced abilities. I might want to use those before combat, like the good ones at least, so I know I get them off, because you can only use his reaction during the conflict phase. But still, being able to first action blank your guy, essentially blank your opponent's best attacker personality. Stuff like Niten, guy who bows a weapon to bow you, is a strong ability. This guy can cut off
any unlimited ability.
Any of the duelists who have really good abilities. Stuff like Crane, who have some of the honor cards, being able to cut those off. He's really versatile.
It's just powerful control. It's just very powerful control.
Yeah.
The ability to come into a fight and be like, okay, I brought him in. That's shut down. You can't use that.
Yeah, and decent stats for cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, two for 2. And the game doesn't use a stack like Magic, right? It's each ability resolves as you trigger it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no stack where you gotta do stuff before it.
Order of operations.
Yeah, you do it and then it happens then.
All right. Yeah, seems cool.
Yep.
1 influence too, so you can put them in any deck for cheap.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we got Vengeful Berserker, 3
I
fate.
like this guy.
We know.
He's a
Yeah.
3 dash, so he's got no political skill.
As berserkers are wont to not
Right.
have.
Bushi Berserker, and he has a reaction after another character you control leaves play during a conflict. Double this character's military skill until the end of conflict. Oh, he also has 0 glory.
You don't need no glory.
No.
What's great about this guy is that
No.
he even protects you from your opponent's removal.
You
Yeah.
know, he's literally a meat shield, is what he is.
If
If you want to remove somebody from the fight,
his chest.
yeah, pretty much. Like if you want to remove somebody from the battlefield, you have to be damn certain that what you're removing is going to be more potent than when he becomes a 6 dash.
Yeah, if you take out anything that has less than 3 power, then you're losing that that number game.
Yep.
Yep.
If I have Bonds on my hand and this guy in play, you can bet my first action in any conflict that he's in is going to be to Bonds on and lose an honor. It's like,
Yeah.
go on, get rid of me, and then you might have a sack outlet with your little, to use a magic term, aristocrat theme to
Right.
maybe have an outlet to sack your characters. We've seen the 0-0 for 0 scout guy is a great sack for this dude, because then you just you bonsai him and then you sack your guy, and
Yeah,
without losing tempo you've just gained 7 force, and you can keep, obviously your opponent's going to want to try to find a way to deal with him, but sometimes they just can't, and if you keep pumping him before someone dies, then he just gets even bigger and harder to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You said aristocrat from Magic. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean.
I believe we talked about it last week, but it's a term for a deck that uses some cards with aristocrat in the name originally, and it's based around sacrificing for positive effects. And like we saw last week in some other about to see in some other cards, Crab get some buffs by sacrificing their guys.
and value is really good in this game for sacking your guys, because you can if you're on the draw, to use a magic term, if your opponent gets the first opportunity to swing against you, you can just defend with someone, then swing back with this guy and sack your guy to just defend. They don't have to be at the conflict.
Right.
So
And just with the way fate works in this game, you're going to have people that are going to leave at the end of turn anyway. So being able to get more value out of those guys is just amazing.
Exactly.
That's a nasty power.
All right. Next up is Steadfast Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
4 fate for 4/2.
Yeah.
0 glory. Best art.
Indeed.
Yep.
This is
Ninja
my
Earth.
favorite card.
Yeah. Action. Sacrifice a friendly, in parentheses, character. Choose a character. Ready that character.
So good. So good. You see the cost and the stats, and it's kind of like, that's not great. But there are, at least what we've seen so far, there are not very many ways to ready your character. You can't.
Right, it's like-
none of the rings ready your character.
Oh,
other
you
than
bowed my 8/8 Vengeful Berserker? Let's just stand him down.
water will,
Water,
but
I was gonna say the water.
water will, but
Yeah.
it becomes less of a prime target as the conflict phase moves on. It's really good the first time there's an attack, and obviously if you're defending first, and they go after water, you're not going to get that ability if you win, unless you're playing another clan like Crane or Lion. But just her being so versatile that I could, even on the play, attack with 2 people, have her sack one to ready one of the characters that just attack for the defense or for another attack, is just really strong. The ability itself is worth 2 fate on its own, because at least based off the information we have, because we haven't seen really any straight, and I always want to use the old term, readying tech. So that's why I love the art on the card too, but the card is just also really good and really cool for Crab. It's another sack outlet, and you can do it
Also,
during
like the
you can do it
Which
during
does
conflict
go
too.
working well with Vengeful Berserker.
that's what I was gonna say.
There, bam.
You can use her as the sack outlet to get value there and to straighten someone else somewhere else and get value there.
Yep.
A very good dragon counter card.
oh yeah. flavor text on the card and how it plays into the ability.
Mm-hmm.
Shadowlands Taint can poison any soul. It is my duty to cleanse it from our ranks.
That said, we'll see exactly just how potent that can be because, I mean, burning cards is that takes a toll on you.
Oh, yeah.
You just want to make sure you get value when you do it. If you're not, if someone's already bowed and they have no fate on them, it's a dead card anyways.
That's given. I'm just saying you're burning cards when you do it.
Yeah, you're probably going to use her most often when, after you've already defended.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't obviously want to use this on someone you've invested fate into, or someone that you plan on using later.
It would be perfect with a Haruma Ambusher. Pull out the Haruma Ambusher, bring him in, pay the 2. Then you got a Vengeful Berserker there. Then since you're not going to put any fate on him extra, you just want him for that round. Bam, kill him off. Vengeful Berserker busts up. Yep. Boom, combo right there. That's a 2-turn combo.
Yep.
All right. Now we're into some unique characters. We got Hida Tomonatsu, which is from the story. She's a 3 fate for a 3/2, 2 glory Bushi that has the reaction. After this character wins a conflict as a defender, sacrifice it. Choose a non-unique attacking character. Return that character to the top of its owner's deck.
She's a staple.
Oh, yeah.
If she's not in your deck, I fear you have made a mistake.
Yeah, we'll see. She does have a lot of conditions, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That have to be met.
It is targeted removal, so that's good. It's not easy to get rid of characters, especially characters that have fate invested on them. A lot of times you're removing a fate from a character or discarding a character with no fate. The big thing is most of the time you're going to get value, or you could get value on a card like this, is against a big, powerful, strong unit, and sometimes those are sadly the unique characters that your opponent has. But that being said, it is target removal. It's still a really good ability, and she's still well costed on top of having that ability.
Well, all I can think is that, like, if you need gosh damn, we were just talking about it. If you need a Haruma Ambusher, she's your go-to gal. That's a really powerful card that guarantee that's going to be on your owner, the top of your deck. But you're going to have that card to draw up. And that gives you control for the next action.
Your opponent's also going to see her on the board. So
well, no, because her power only kicks in when she's defending, and you have to choose an attacker to go back to the...
Choose a non-unique attacking character.
Right, after she wins as a defender.
Yeah, so she has to use
your opponent's card.
I see.
Yeah, that's where she's very limited.
Oh, I read that wrong. Okay, that changes everything.
Yeah, it's still good. It's still a good ability. Your opponent's just going to see it coming. He's going to have to know he can win the battle that she's going to be at.
Right, which usually people only attack when they are pretty sure they're going to win.
Yeah.
But forcing them to use resources that they might otherwise not want to use frees you up in other areas.
They might have to overextend. Like Lion, for example, might have to swarm with more characters than maybe they wanted to if they wanted to leave some behind to defend. Stuff like that.
It's a potent effect, but it requires some setup.
Yep.
Which
that
pretty
changes. Fair. That changes kind of how I was thinking about it.
All right. Next up, we got Kayu Shuichi. Yeah. 4 fate for a 3/3, 2 glory, Bushi Engineer with Covert. When this character attacks, choose one character without Covert. That character cannot be declared as a defender. He has an action. During a conflict in which this character is participating, if there's a holding in play, gain 1 fate.
He's pretty potent for a 4 cost, but all the 4/1s generally seem to be along this line of strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's also
real good.
He's also one of the other characters that has a 3 for his political, but he's twice the cost of a Haruma Yojimbo.
Right.
Yeah.
Covert is what makes the character shine. You're not always going to hit on the ability, the triggered ability action, because you might not always have a holding in play. But when you do, it's good. It's more of an ability that you want to use towards the end of a conflict. because you obviously don't want to lose tempo just to gain a fate unless you have like an action that you have to play that costs fate in your hand. So it's like a good way, but the action isn't like super stellar. It'll be great when you get to use it.
You can game it though. You can definitely put holdings on and make them more prominent.
Yeah, as a crab, you're gonna probably have more holdings in play.
Yeah,
than
so I mean,
if they get more than one holding, because so far we've only seen every clan gets one holding.
Well, that's probably going to be generic.
All the holdings have been.
No,
I think we've seen
two.
one generic, haven't we?
And crab have 2.
Yeah.
There you go.
At least.
What's their other holding?
They've got.
I know we have Borderland Fortifications.
There was the fan of cards at the start of the article. You missed Funeral Purge.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
What does it do?
Well,
Man.
it is a +0 holding that is a ritual and has the action sacrifice a character, draw a card,
Okay.
which turns all of your 0 fate characters
Pretty good.
into a card.
Yeah.
And for our last character is the big guy, Hida Kasada. 5 fate for a 7/2 and 0 glory. Bushi champion. While you have
the glory.
Yeah.
I think most people saw that coming.
Yeah.
While you have not lost a conflict this phase, cancel the effects of the first action ability your opponent triggers from a card during each conflict.
Okay, so stat-wise, the weakest champion we have, without a doubt. 7/2 with 0 glory is
That's nice.
the weakest stats.
He operates better Dishonored than the others.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we dishonor the others.
But I think his ability is the strongest out of all the champions. Because if it was just a conflict that he was at, it would be not as good. It would still be good. But this is every conflict. He doesn't even have to be at the battlefield. While you've not lost a conflict this phase, cancel the effects of first action ability your opponent triggers from a card during each conflict. So they're losing an action every turn. Even when you attack, it's almost like getting a free sneak attack off, basically. But it's even better because they have to use an action, so they've used up one of their resources.
Isn't Doji Hotaru like 5/3 or 3/5?
She's a 6/3, but she also has 3 glory.
Yeah,
her stat line, like his stat line, like his
he's
actual
still the
numbers
best.
in,
He's
like,
still
in
the
line.
best military with no honor status in play or dishonored status. He only loses out when someone else is honored.
Which obviously is going to require some cards.
Right. In military. In political, he's the weakest.
Oh, yeah, totally worse. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What? Kisada's weak in political? How
Are you
dare
trying
you?
to tell me that a crab would be bad at politics? I don't believe this for a second.
Get bowed by the Crane stronghold, Kisada.
I know! He's one of the few!
But
he shouldn't be participating in
I know, he should probably... I would never use him in a political...
Unless you just have to. Sometimes he's there at the end, and maybe Crane's trying to break your last province. But
Baby Crane.
But I don't want it to sound like I'm too down on him, because I think I want to reserve complete judgment till we see more Dishonor tech, but I think so far, Yokuni's still a little better just because of his stat line, but I still think this ability is the strongest out of all the champions.
I actually agree with you. I think this ability is immensely powerful. The the fact is that the ability to deny other people actions is far more potent than the ability to buff or enhance yourself. You're taking a choice away from them. You're forcing them to use something that they may not want to use, but have to if they want to get past that. And they have to reprioritize.
And you might get it multiple times a turn.
Yeah, which makes it even scarier.
Though, if they're going first and they swing at you political, you might only get it that conflict.
Yeah. Even then, it's still good. Kasada's like the one crab that you probably want to put lots of fate on, because you're going to be sacking your other ones.
True. All right. Now on for an attachment, which is Watch Commander.
Nick Cage.
Yeah. 1 fate for +1/+1, and it's a follower. Is this the first follower?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
We've seen monks attached to characters, but they were not
Right.
followers in and of themselves.
This attaches to a character you control, limit 1 per character. Has the reaction after an opponent plays a card during a conflict in which the attached character is participating, that player loses 1 honor.
This is horse shit.
And it's unlimited.
That's the key word.
Absolute
Right.
horse shit.
Yeah, this is. Oh, yeah. This is so good.
Yeah.
There's
This is such a key
there's a
card.
reason
I'm
this is
angry about it.
There's a reason
I'm
this
so
is 3.
angry about this card.
3 influence.
Yeah.
I imagine Scorpion might be playing Crab as their other guy, just because of getting to run this card as a 3 of, and probably
I would run it
say.
as a crane. If I was playing Crane, I'd run this card. That's how good it is.
Yeah, it's
Like
super good.
people would run it without the +1/+1.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
The very fact that anytime you just play a card, you're losing an honor means that you have to now re-strategize everything. If I duel you, are you really going to earn that honor? Or we draw cards? Well, you got less honor now, so you may not be able to gamble as much. It's so potent.
Yeah, it shuts down your opponent's flexibility in conflicts. It shuts down your opponent's flexibility outside of conflict phases when they're bidding honor in the bid phase. It's just really strong.
As a crab should be.
Yeah. now the positive for Crab is they're generally going to want to sack their characters. So you kind of want to, if you want this ability to stick around, but still, it's still good even if it's in only 1 turn. And it says you can only attach to 1 per character, but you can have multiple of these guys at the same province on different characters, and then get double triggers every time.
I wouldn't even stack it. I'd put it on multiple characters just because.
You can't stack it.
Well, I was going to say, even if you could, I wouldn't stack
Oh,
it.
yeah. You want to spread your resources in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
I mean, what's even nastier about this is the fact that you can just, we can go back to the Kuni Witch Hunter. You could ready the character and put them in the next conflict with this card attached to them.
Yep. Exactly.
That's insane.
Exactly. So good.
So good.
This is up there with Honored Blade for
Yeah.
probably the best attachment and my favorite attachment so far.
It's
I have to
interesting to
agree.
see the design philosophy and work with like making it 3 influence.
Yeah.
And,
That's the
and
part that
how
makes me angry.
and that crab
You
want to
want to.
sacrifice.
You want to make it 3. You don't want everybody to
Right.
be able to run this. And
Yeah.
It would just be straight busted at like 1 influence.
yeah.
Even at 2, I think it would be just too
yeah.
good at that
2
point.
is too good as well. I agree.
Anywho. I think that's the only attachment we've seen see
Indeed.
from the crab.
Yeah, I think so.
But so next up is an event. Levy for 0 fate. As the action, choose an opponent. That player must select 1. Give you 1 fate or 1 honor.
I really like this card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never a dead card.
It's never a dead card.
I just
Also
feel like
3 influence.
I just feel like most of the time they're going to give you the honor, which is still good. You're still like basically draining them of a future card.
I think it's far
Yeah,
more.
you're taking a card from them basically.
I think it's just it's a far more scary fact is that when you're playing against somebody who is trying to play the honor out game with you, then it becomes a lot scarier because now you either give them a resource that admittedly is not all that commonplace, especially early on, or you start help pushing them in that honor direction, which you may not want to do because that gives them bidding power against you.
Yeah, this card and the previous Watch Commander are going to be interesting to watch after some expansions. Maybe we see a bit more Yasuki Dishonor stuff coming in.
Yeah, this feels like a very Yasuki card with getting
Right.
economics or making your opponent lose honor. So
Yeah,
I agree.
this is
with
like
you there.
like every clan has like a main theme, but then they have other cards that are like probably hinting at things to come in the future.
Yeah,
I think this
Yeah.
is one of those.
Yeah.
Yasuki Dishonor.
All right. Then we have The Mountain Does Not Fall, which is a 1 fate event that has the action choose a character until the end of the phase. That character does not bow as a result of conflict resolution while defending. Max 1 per round, 3 influence.
This is
Just-
super good on the draw.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna use it right on the guy that has Watch Commander. Congrats.
Oh yeah.
Yup.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. It's good on the draw because your opponent attacks you, you defend, you pop this to not bow your character for the rest of the phase, then you can defend again on your opponent's second swing if they do a second swing. So just really good. More ways to have quote unquote straighten tech.
Yep.
It's obviously not anytime you want it, but still it's a rallying cry, and rallying cries are generally good.
I mean, it's also helpful. I mean, it's not going to protect you if somebody forcibly bows you, but if they're still standing at the end of the day, bam, you can throw that down as the last card and be like, hey, guess what's going to happen next?
More value from your crabs that you're going to sack or probably don't have any fate and are just going to fade away anyways. So
yep,
lots of good value
until I
for
sacrifice them.
That's what I like most about crab, honestly, is the value they get out of their cards, like in and of themselves. Like
They're very it's efficient. Is what it is.
Yes,
it's incredibly efficient. Oh, this guy's about to die. I'm gonna sack him and gain a bonus for it. Oh, I really need this guy in here for another round. Bam, I've got a card for that. I mean, just they're very, very efficient cards.
Yep.
And of course, the most important thing about this card: look at the amount of Tetsuos in that artwork.
That's exactly right. There's a fantastic amount of Tetsuos. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe a seventh right there. Yeah, right there in the little gap. I can see it.
Yep.
It's a lot of compensation going on.
It's okay, little crane. You can be jealous all you want.
Oh my gosh. Next card.
Anyway.
Anywho, we got Way of the Crab, which is another one-cost event. That philosophy art. And has the action sacrifice a friendly crab character, choose an opponent, that player must sacrifice a character, max 1 per round.
This is such a nice card.
Yeah, seems pretty good. Especially against some of the less swarmy armies, like not
dragon.
the lion.
It's really bad against lion.
Right.
Lion don't care. But even then,
okay, I'll sacrifice my 0 cost guy.
Right. Though I guess can be done. I mean, it can be done any time. So like after when playing against the crab, you kind of have to be careful with who your first person out is.
Yeah.
I think it works best as just having a sack outlet, especially for Berserker. Other than that, I'm not like a big fan of letting my opponent choose usually his worst card. So I'm a little bit more down on it than you guys are, but it is better versus the more big unit focused clans like Dragon.
Yeah. Well, like what we said though, like there's not a lot of just opponent removal in general. So the fact that this, even though the opponent gets to choose it, the fact that it's there at all, that's still one less guy. No matter what, that's one less guy you have to worry about in this fight. Which ultimately, that's what you want.
It's even worse if the opponent invested a little bit of time into a character.
Yeah, if they've been throwing around the fate on everything.
I'm going to tell you when this is best. If for some reason you have like a character hanging around from the last round, and your opponent has no one left after their first turn, maybe they buy someone with a lot of and they like invest a fate or 2 on them. And that's their one character, and you have someone from last round. Then you just, as an action, play this to sack that character. Then he has to immediately kill the guy that he just bought into play. That's when the card is best. It's worse in conflicts, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a conflict card. You're going to want to game it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the point of the card, is that you get the bait. I mean, that's like a perfect scenario. That's the perfect scenario. Of course, it's going to be the best.
Yeah, and it's also just a sack outlet. Sometimes you want to sack a character like to your Berserker.
You obviously trigger things for you.
You're obviously not going to get value on your Berserker if you do this during the Dynasty phase, but still.
Yeah. But that's fine. I mean, this card gives you the freedom to do it when you want or when you feel is most appropriate.
Yeah. Still not as silent as you guys think as you guys are. I think it's still playable, but I don't think it's super.
I have no idea how good it'll actually end up.
Yeah, like I said, I'm reserving all true final judgment when the game actually releases.
My early score is like a C+. Just limited resource terms.
All right. Moving on to holdings, we already mentioned Flame Purge. Which was +0 for sacrifice a character to draw a card.
Yep.
Seemed real good. I like the art a lot.
Yep.
lots of fire.
Yeah, I like that.
No cards.
Fire.
Sack your god, it's going to die anyways, just to get a card.
Yeah, it just turns everyone into a card,
Yeah.
Yep.
which is amazing value.
Card draw is amazing.
Very efficient.
I think they stated like matches were gonna last around 5 to 6 rounds. They said on average.
Something
So
like
they're
that.
going for it,
Yeah, that means that's 5 to 6 honor. You don't have to bet.
Right?
Well, how often do you want to like keep it going up your provinces too? And it might get
True.
broken,
Yeah.
so you
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
You're not always guaranteed to completely have it around.
In an
Sometimes you're going to want
in an
characters
ideal
instead of
world.
holdings. Oh yeah, still a good card. If
Yeah.
you use it once, it's a good card. You're not paying anything
it's-
for it.
No, you're not paying anything. Exactly.
I'd most of the time probably use it once and then discard it.
Well, then we have Borderlands Fortifications, which is +2, and has the action: choose a card in one of your provinces, switch this holding with that card.
Now this is gas. This is some gas. This is when this card is best is when your opponent swings at one of your better personalities that maybe you left over, or you didn't have enough to buy, and you want to buy next phase, and you just move this in to replace it. Your opponent might as well just swing at the fortification itself at that point.
Yeah,
So it
well,
kind of
they
limits
have
their
to.
choices.
If they plan on attacking twice, their first one has to be at something else, because otherwise you're not going to use the action and you'll get it next attack.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of say. I don't know if I'd. It's kind of like with you. I don't know if I would totally keep it around. Although that +2 is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
I don't know
not
if
something
I'd
I'd keep around a long time, but
yeah.
like a free +2 to province shrink then for one turn is
I mean,
nice.
a plus, it's basically a free 2/2, right? Zero
Yeah.
fate
Yep,
for
exactly.
a 2/2
Yeah.
character.
Yep.
Yeah, it's strong.
Which
2 is a
is-
lot. Based on like the games I played, 2 is like a big swing. So
Yeah, it'll definitely help in political fights too,
Oh yeah.
more than military even probably. It also it's probably tied for my second favorite art. I just like the way it's depicted. I like the less defined features with the mixing of colors. That's just me.
The shadowiness.
Yeah.
nope, give me my anime style. Cooney Witch Hunter.
Yeah. And then we got the clan-specific province, Defend the Wall, which is
Hey.
4 strength. Has the reaction, after you win a conflict at this province, resolve the ring effect of that conflict as if you were the attacking player. And I think this was already revealed already. And it's an earth.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Those were revealed.
generally your place is Elemental Fury, which is where you negate the effect of the ring. So just straight up better. Same province strength. Yeah, super good. Your opponent half the time doesn't know what they're going to be able to swing into. If they choose fire and flip this, you might get to dishonor one of their guys. Maybe you'll get to steal some honor. Maybe you'll get to get rid of some card draw. Maybe you'll get to straighten another one of your guys because of the water ring effect from a previous
just
battle.
a free ring effect for not attacking. Seems pretty good.
It's
Yep.
really good, and they're probably not going to swing on that province again. if
Isn't
they
there a
don't take it.
champion ability that does something equivalent to this or similar? Or am I just?
Yeah, Hotaru and Toturi, their abilities will trigger on the defense. If you win in a
Yeah.
conflict as a defender with them.
Yeah, there you go.
Super
so this
good
is just a province that does that. That's amazing.
Yeah, practically a champion level effect.
Yep.
for free.
Yeah. And then we have the Stronghold, Shiro Nishima, +3 strength, and it has
The highest strength of
honor.
any of the ones we've seen so far, too.
Yeah.
10 honor, 10 influence, +7 fate.
I want to say right now, I think this kind of tells us exactly what we needed to know about starting honor, starting influence.
Yeah.
At this
I
point,
think
see
Scorpion might be
at
9.
Yeah,
probably.
the lowest amount.
Maybe 8.
Two difference from starting from like some of the highest clans. So I think we have an idea of where they were going with this.
And then its action is during a conflict, bow this stronghold. Each defending character you control gets +1 military and +1 political until the end of the conflict. That's very crab.
I like that ability. I don't
Yeah,
know, just a
seems
+1
good.
+1 just seems good to me always.
Yep.
to everyone.
Yep.
It's only when defending, but
Yeah, because crab aren't
Still,
as big unit as I thought they were going to be.
yeah.
So this was one of the first ones I read when the article was spooled, and I was like, "Oh god, this doesn't seem good." But there's not really like followers or big attachments that they use. So it's better than I initially thought. Still, it's still only on defense, but you want to defend a lot as a crab. So it's still
very
good.
counter.
It's very solid.
Your opponent's guaranteed to swing at you some point. I
Right.
think just that from my eyes at
And
that point.
if you're playing
+1/+1 is
crab,
a
you're
bloody
going to
good card.
defend. And if you're playing crab, you're going to defend. Sometimes you'll only sadly get +1 out of it, but generally you only want to use that when it's going to swing the battle in your favor anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And it helps out politically too, which is
Yeah.
definitely going to be
that's
helpful.
what makes it super good. That it's so versatile. It can
Right.
also defend you potentially from the crane stronghold. So it might be a good choice, like first
Any
ability
buffs-
used on political defense.
any abilities that we see out there that base their working ability power on somebody's stats, this kind of card becomes, because it can potentially stop that kind of thing,
Yeah,
like the crane's stronghold. So
Yeah.
and 3 problem strength matters. So
yep,
Well, I'm liking the crab.
yeah, I like them a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, they look pretty bloody good.
Love that counterattack style.
Yeah,
I love the sacrifice theme.
I like the sack theme. Defensive kind of decks are more my style. I'm almost still thinking like I might end up leaning towards Phoenix in the end, but still right now out of what we've seen, Line is most likely what I'm to play though. So
I'm still looking
I-
forward to seeing the unicorn.
I am still gonna probably play Crane, if nothing more for the fact that they just have dual sim. So
just play the
still-
dragon. They're the better duelists in this iteration, and just better.
I reserve my judgment until the final game comes out. I have seen this too many times.
You will
Somebody's like,
see
"If
how
this
right
is
I
what it is,"
am, Metason.
or I'll see how wrong you are, and you'll grovel for forgiveness.
The secret is that the Scorpion are actually going to be the
Yeah, the
best
Scorpion's
duelists.
actually the best.
Yeah, weirdly enough, it'll be like
Turns out the crabs are the best duelists.
dude, if you
Whoa.
crab with this is what I was saying earlier. Crab might actually like Splashing Crane just for the attachment that gives them the military duel, because a lot of their guys have high military strength. Put that card on Haruma Yojimbo, and that is a super resilient
Yes.
like defender.
Yes. There you go. We've just created.
And you can
what
get
was
some,
the,
and you can get some honor effects from Crane too. So you could honor her, then have a 5-force military duelist, or 6
Man.
even, isn't it?
Don't give ideas.
So, that might be what you have to do, Meta.
I'll end up being a crab duelist.
Yeah, I like the crab a
Sweet.
lot. Thematically, they're
I
my
enjoy them.
favorite so far. I like
Thematically,
I like the way they were designed.
I've
Yeah.
never been a big fan of sacking units. I think it's a great mechanic for them, but I've never personally been a fan of like, okay, we're going to kill this unit to get some buff. Because at the end of the day, that means that I spent resources, even if it's just like a tiny bit, to bring something out only to burn it away. But I am glad, at least in this sense of
Yeah.
sacking units, that because the game is ephemeral.
The fact that you can basically effectively sack dead units is also
Yes.
just way
Yeah.
better.
That's what makes
Yeah.
it so great. And I think this is the first time I've seen where it's not as bad in my eyes. In fact, it's fantastic because you gain something for losing it anyway.
Yep, I agree. All right, we'll get on to my topic next. This is probably something everyone saw coming because we talk about our little nerd Marvel movies every time one of them comes out. We're going to talk about Spider-Man. Mal and I saw Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So this is obviously the second time this has been rebooted, or theatrically, I believe.
I mean, in the
We've had
recent
3 franchises, but
in recent history. Yeah, there are some old Spider-Man movies, but we shouldn't talk about those.
well, I actually like some of those old ones. We'll get
I'm
to that in a
talking
little bit.
older than that.
Oh, you're talking about like okay, I gotcha.
Decades ago.
Gotcha. It feels like the first ones were decades ago, but
Well, yes, they were, but I meant even more than that. Before I was
More,
born. and you
more
were born
decades,
probably.
more decades ago.
more and more and more decades after decades. But yeah, so we got obviously we had Spider-Man Civil War, and now he has his first full-fledged movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. Without like getting too deep into spoilers, Spider-Man is riding high off his experience in Civil War, helping out Iron Man try to rein in Cap. In fact, the beginning of the movie takes place right after that, I believe, doesn't it, Mal?
Yeah, there's basically a short little like vlog of him explaining what he did last game in movie.
Yeah, he's like filming himself actually fighting the Avengers and stuff. He like
It's
sets
pretty
down
great.
his camera at one point to show himself like flip over and web Cap shield and say his like introduction line. It was pretty funny. But yeah, so he's riding high off of his experience fighting with Iron Man, and he wants to basically take on a bigger role. Basically, Iron Man's like trying to lay it low, like do some small stuff, and we'll see where it goes. Kind of, you can keep the suit, just like don't get in over your head. And of course, because he's Spider-Man, he gets in over his head.
And he's only 15 or whatever.
Yeah, he's super young in this. So we have Michael Keaton as the Vulture, who is basically your blue
called the Vulture.
Yeah, never called the Vulture, but he's basically your blue collar. Like they're basically cleaning up the aftermath of what happened in the first Avengers with the Chitauri.
Work it into the universe.
Yeah, that was really great about the movie.
I think he might be one of their best villains.
I think he is their best villain. Maybe not as good as Loki.
Up there with Loki, yeah.
He's up there though.
Right.
That's just all Hiddleston's like charisma, I think, more so than the character. Like I think he's like a really good character too.
Though Michael Keaton's no slouch.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been around for a while.
So
weirdly typecast as a bird superhero
exactly
now.
So the government steps in when he has a contract to basically get him and his people to get paid to clean up after what happened to New York at the end of Avengers 1. Government steps in and says, we're going to handle this now. And they kind of lose their job, lose their contract, lose their money. So he resorts to stealing Chitauri and some of Ultron's too, I think, later on. Like some of their technology and basically
he goes around behind, and steals stuff from Avenger fights.
Yep. And makes it into weapons that he sells on the black market, essentially, or to like gangsters and stuff. Yeah. So Spider-Man basically finds out he's doing it by stopping these guys from robbing a bank who happen to have his weapons. He follows like the bread trail to find out like Vulture's behind it, and then they kind of like basically end up clashing against each other. Spider-Man wants to prove himself to Tony Stark. References to Uncle Ben are kind of out of the movie, which I found was interesting actually, that we didn't get like a small hint, kind of like a throwaway line. They
definitely figure everyone knows Spider-Man's origin at this point.
Yeah, which was good. We didn't need to really see any of that.
Nope.
But
also, like, just working it more into the franchise, they wanted it to I think Iron Man's kind of taking that more father role or whatever.
Yeah, he's the one that Spider-Man wants to impress. So he's dealing with that. He's dealing with basically that he, like most Spider-Man movies, the whole power and responsibility dynamic. He has to choose between his social life, his life as a high school student, his life as Peter Parker, and being Spider-Man. This kind of yearning he feels to get Tony's respect and to kind of like prove to himself that he can like hang up there with the Avengers and do good in New York and stuff. What I liked most about the movie actually was that it was, one, so small scale. Vulture was like basically a crook, like he is in the comics, because a lot of Spider-Man's villains, his rogues gallery in the comics, are like low-key crooks, basically. I think like maybe Kingpin is probably like the most wide-reaching of all Spider-Man's villains.
But even Kingpin is still very
he's lower power level. Yeah.
There's the other symbiotes eventually. Those are like, alien scale enemies.
They're some of my least favorite ones though.
Yeah.
Personally. Carnage and Venom I like them fine, but they're not like.
Side note, Sony's doing this weird thing where they are they're trying to still build up the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah.
With their own, like, there's going to be they're coming out with a Venom movie.
Yeah,
with
isn't
Carnage
Tom
as the bad
Hardy?
guy.
Isn't Tom
I
Hardy
don't
Carnage or something? I don't remember either.
But yeah,
But yeah,
that's supposed to sort of be in the same universe, but Marvel's like, no.
but yeah, I like how small scale it was. So he's fighting a crook. There's no like the world's being threatened. All New York's going to be destroyed. Blah blah blah. It's just Spider-Man wanting to stop a crook from stealing some weapons. It's kind of like that's my favorite thing about the movie. Also, like that it was very high school focused.
Yeah,
Actually,
basically, it's
a comedy
basically
movie.
An 80s teen
It's a
movie.
Yeah, it's a like
with
a Howard
superheroes.
Hughes comedy movie.
Which
it's like it's Ferris Bueller, which they kind of allude to actually a little bit.
which I love because
Makes me want to see it less.
It's really well done though.
Quartets.
I don't like 80s teen movies. I don't like the whole high school drama stuff, personally.
Well, he's a high school kid.
Yeah, that
That is the biggest thing. There's a reason. There's a reason why Spider-Man's like the most popular superhero of all time, and it's usually because he's got like the most his comics always deal with how much being a superhero messes with his normal life.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I like
they
most about
nail it
Spider-Man.
in this one.
Yeah, that's really good.
They nail all aspects where the other previous franchises just get like one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought like all the supporting cast was really good.
They also rely a lot on subverting expectations. They do a really good job of that in this movie.
Okay,
based
how
on
so?
some things Well, there's the whole third act, but just things that they use a lot of first names of characters from the comics. So if you know about the comics, you're thinking one way, and then they use that to twist it.
Shocker.
Yeah, that is one actually.
Yep.
But yeah,
The twist was kind of that too, which I didn't see coming at all,
I don't think a lot of people did.
which was great. I'm not going to say it because it completely spoils everything, but it was awesome. It was like I just didn't see it coming at all. It completely blindsided me. I was like, this really adds a lot to the movie too.
You get one at the very end too, but that if you'd been following just the stuff going on about filming the movie and the characters being cast, you already would have known. But it was just, I thought it was cute at the very end.
Okay, I want to hear this because after we're done recording, because
Sure.
I didn't pick up on it. But no, so yeah, he has to basically, like, for half the movie, clean up his mess, which is another thing. I like, my favorite protagonists in movies and media or anything I consume is generally ones that fail a lot. They constantly mess up, and
that's Spider-Man.
You see it in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's why Spider-Man's one of my favorites. He messes up so much in this movie. He's like constantly does the wrong thing until the very end. He finally like gets it right, sets things to right, and like, you know, we go on towards the next movie or whatever. But I just loved how big of a screw up he was.
Yeah, well, Peter Parker luck is a thing. Parker luck is not. Yeah, he's not got good stuff or the good luck.
Just even as a superhero, like he has no clue what he's doing. He's out of his element. Like you have like stuff like Cap, who always like knows like the strongest, or not the strongest, but the best action to take. You have like Thor, who's just incredibly strong and can like power his way through most situations. Yeah, Iron Man, who's just like charismatic and generally like breezes through stuff. So it's just kind of like refreshing to see like the protagonist of a Marvel superhero movie like flub his way through basically 2 acts of the film.
Another reason why I think like they just really got it right this time. Well, it also helps that they have access to the rest of the Marvel franchise.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man is always trying to do as much as he can, even when he's severely outclassed, like with the rest of being an Avenger, always trying to do that. And even when he's, you know, the weakest one on the team, wants to do as much as he can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I like the movie a lot. It's really good. For me, though, it's still like my third favorite Spider-Man movie, just because I hold those first 2 Tobey Maguire movies like so dear to me and so close. I love Sam Raimi a lot as a director. My big knock on the movie, and it's kind of just a general criticism of all Marvel movies, not It has a good villain, so that answers one of like the more popular criticisms of Marvel
Right.
movies, that they have bad villains. But it's just kind of like very bland visually. But that's like more of a nitpicky kind of thing. Honestly, I can't really like
I didn't
knock
really
the movie.
get that, but I guess
It's just there's nothing like
yeah.
I'm probably gonna misuse the word cinematographically, I guess, that is like super. Like when you see the trailer
Yeah, it
to
didn't
Baby
stand
Driver,
out.
it's obviously like it's an Edgar Wright
Oh, yeah.
film. You're gonna
Well,
get
yeah,
all the
that
good,
was-
cinematography and
Cinematography.
stuff. But this
Yeah.
is just kind
That's
of
fair.
bland. Like I think
I
Ant-Man
wouldn't-
probably was the most interesting movie, like film wise, that Marvel's
Yeah.
done.
Well, Doctor Strange also.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
also that. I'd say that and Ant-Man are the two
Yeah.
most interesting visually.
I don't know if I'd call it bland, but I do think it's nothing special.
And a lot of
in
them-
that regards. But I wouldn't say the other Spider-Man really are.
Well, it has that Sam Raimi style, so it feels like
Yeah.
very Evil Dead, very like cheesy.
Though the
kind
web
of-
slinging in the original ones is awful. The
Oh, yeah,
physics,
yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh yeah,
Basically
for sure.
like super weightless. Yeah. But I love this is up there as one of my favorite Marvel
Yeah.
movies, I think.
It's one of the best in the MCU for sure.
I pretty much only read Spider-Man and then Captain / Miss Marvel comics and Inhumans, so as those are like the only ones I have read any large amount of, so
Yeah.
the Spider Universe, I guess.
Yep. It's great. I'm curious to see where he's going to fit into the Thanos stuff later on. I think that movie's next year, right?
Yeah, the first one.
First part, yeah.
I believe.
So I'm interested to see how he's going to like handle being on the big stage and against
know
like a
they've,
big player like Thanos.
They've said, I guess it's sort of a weird overlapping, but they said like the Infinity Wars is kind of closing the first chapter of the franchise and this Spider-Man Homecoming is kind of opening up the next one, like the first beat in the next chapter.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to start seeing, we're pretty much going to start seeing the original actors. Like this will be the first time in like a franchise where you actually see people phase out like of an ongoing world. Oh, that's another part. Like this one has the most like world connection. Like they're in a history class and they're teaching about the Synovia Accords or whatever.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
that, like if this was a real world, of course you would be learning about those in your history class.
Yeah.
Like it just ties into the rest of the franchise because this is like really the first time you see a character like just a normal life of one of the Marvel characters.
Yeah. For sure.
So they're really digging into using all like what's going on in the rest of the world to fuel this movie.
So, have either of you guys really watched any of the Netflix series in the MCU?
Not
the only
a whole
one
lot.
I've watched to completion is Daredevil, which I really
I've
like.
only watched the first season. I just never got around to watching the rest. I mean, I've wanted to, but I just haven't.
Right. Okay. Because I know that they kind of do that as well in that, and I was going to ask how that compared, if they did it like more or better than what they did in the Netflix
Yeah.
series.
They weirdly don't like. I don't know. I don't think
They don't
they really
reference
want
them.
their. Yeah. No. Like yeah. No.
They
The
wanna keep
movies
them
never
separate.
really reference the TV stuff. Basically,
Which is
It's
weird.
Sort of trickles down. It doesn't
Yeah.
go the other way.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, because like stuff
no,
that happens
yeah.
in the movie is referenced in the Marvel or the Netflix stuff, but like it doesn't go the other way, even though it could because it's in New York, which
I could
I
see
guess
it
it's
maybe with Spider-Man down the road,
Right.
especially since
Another-
Daredevil's getting his own thing.
another
Well, with Kingpin.
thing, yeah, another thing that like I've seen people say was really cool was like they don't go for any of the easy like super high skyscraper shots. It's all like lower level stuff. Like they really drive home how like kind of inexperienced and learning he is. Like he's young and just fresh of his powers for
I'm
like
15.
at this month. He's had him for like 10 months at this point in
Yeah.
the movie. So yeah, like he stays like pretty low level. He doesn't like go out swinging amongst like the Empire State Building type stuff. Like it's all lower level Manhattan, I think it was. But yeah. Anyway, like so you and then you have to finally see how Spider-Man deals with having no buildings around.
Exactly. That was a great
Uh,
moment too.
It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the movie, so
Yeah.
I could talk forever.
It was really good. I give it a strong recommendation. As a Spider-Man fan, a fan of the MCU, it's one of the better movies they've had. They just keep making good movies.
Yeah.
All right, Tats, what's your topic?
Well, I this weekend, I know earlier I said that it's been pretty busy this week, but this weekend I had a little bit of downtime and I jumped onto my Steam account. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people who have this problem where they have a bloated Steam account full of games that they just have never touched. I don't know how much that's true for the two of you guys, but I know a lot of people that are that way.
I know people that way. I'm not that way necessarily myself. I have like 8 Steam games, I think.
I have a lot of Steam games, and I have a couple that I haven't played. Usually they're from a bundle.
I was going to say, I think that's my big thing is like they'll have like the humble bundle where I want this one game, and then I get like 6 games from it or whatever. Yeah. The one game I got a while ago and I just never touched until this weekend was Banished.
I love me some Banished.
Yeah, I've always heard good things about it, and I say I never touched it. I did play like through halfway through the tutorial, like when I first got it, and then never touched it again. But coming back to it, like it was really enjoyable. What are part of this group of people? Well, the people that you're kind of controlling have been banished, and they have to start a town and pretty much survive on their own, whether you make a town or whatever. They just want to survive. And so it's a real-time strategy.
Like there's not a lot of games quite like this because there's no combat.
It's all about building up your
management.
Resources. Yeah.
Almost like a Sim City kind of but more in depth.
A smaller scale too, but more, and then you're managing smaller sorts of resources.
Like
you gotta
buildings.
make sure you can get, and you got to get through like the environment, like survive the environment, like with the winter and stuff.
But part of it too is a matter of, so you don't actually, as soon as you say something or put in a command, it may not happen for a while because you have a set number of people in your town and they will get to work on it. But if you like give them 30 commands and there's only 10 people in the town, it's going to take them a while to get to the end of that command list that
you got to prioritize what you need at the moment, sort of thing. And
even if you cancel an order, if they've started on it, or it might take a while for them to even just decide, okay, we're not going to do that because he's canceled it. So it's very micromanagey, or it can be. But
yeah. So I followed this game throughout its development. It's because it was done by one guy.
Yes.
I didn't know one guy did this. He spent many years on it. I haven't. It's been at least a year since I've last played it, though. So I don't know how much he's added since then. But
he added a few things recently and revamped a few of the engine mechanics.
Yeah, it's nice to know that he's still working on it. But I thought it was great because this was like exactly the kind of game I wanted at the time, because I love the idea of sort of like that or SimCity type thing, but just like as a survival game.
I think the closest other game, like in my mind, that connects to it is Dwarf Fortress, but it's 3D. It's not like Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah,
the little
Dwarf
characters.
Fortress is a whole
that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Plus, I wanted a game with no combat because I didn't want to because I play sim game or 4X games, but that's a lot of combat is a big part of it too, or can be at least, and that's like against other people too. I just wanted a game where I could build up a civilization, but just like really focus on that. And I found this while it was in development, and I was really pleased with how it all came out.
So where does like the, I guess, failure or conflict in the game come from? Is it all from the environment and getting your followers to do what you want them to do, basically?
Yeah, so there's the two main deaths that are lose scenarios that I come across. Both stem from everybody dying in my town. That's pretty much the way you would lose. but is either through starvation or through freezing to death, because the winters can be very bad, and if you do not prep properly as far as like food storage goes, your people will starve to death. And if you didn't properly prep for the wood, like your wood storage, they'll freeze to death. If you did not make enough clothing for the winter before winter comes through, you're gonna freeze to death. Like, so it is very realistic in those kind of ways, which I know isn't for everybody. But it's definitely enjoyable. Like, I don't think it's done in like an irritating way. It's very intuitive. I feel like
You died of dysentery.
you can die of diseases. There are some things that'll even disease like your crop fields, and if you aren't like careful, it can infect other crop fields of similar types. And then sometimes of not similar types, depending on what it is. If it's like a plague of bugs or something. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I easily spent like a day playing that game before I realized how late it was.
Does it just go on until you basically lose the game, or is there like an actual end scenario?
I think it's just until like in whatever end scenario you mentally planned. Kind of like SimCity or other city builders.
Yeah.
There's not necessarily like a scenario.
There's also, you can mod the game, so.
Yes, it has native mod
Support.
function support. There we go. To the point where you can just like in the game itself be able to click and go into the Steam Workshop and download mods and
Yeah, so you can add a lot of different kind of gameplays. What you tailored to what maybe you're more looking for, like make it even harder on yourself or easier.
I've seen combat mods. I've seen scenario mods where they're like, survive to this year, but make sure you have this many, this big a population by this year, or whatever. Granted, it's a mod, and I know some people might say, well, that should be, part of the core gameplay. But again, it's one guy did this.
Community stuff.
Yeah,
it's all done by one guy.
You don't want to turn into Bethesda.
I think he did a really great job with it.
Yeah. And the aesthetic is really nice. Like, it's very rustic. It's very not quite pioneer-y, but kind of I don't know. It's like kind of this mid area between like medieval and pioneer American. The aesthetic's different because it has like aspects of both, but it's nice. I enjoy it. It's very pleasing to just kind of sit there while you're playing and just enjoying the way it looks, enjoying the sounds. The music's
sort of
very
like,
nice and calming.
It's a snug like chill game that you just like wind down to, basically.
Yeah.
Very like
exactly.
low engagement. I don't mean that like a derogatory term, but like it's like turning on like just like a chill movie or something like that, or something.
It can be.
Yeah, sort of.
Like you don't.
It can
it
be,
does.
it's
you
still,
can speed it up, but you could also keep it like real timey.
Yeah, and again, it can be very difficult, and it's very micromanagey. So for some people, that might be too engaging. But especially once you get into a rhythm with it, you can just kind of keep going and just kind of get into the flow and just kind of relax as you're going through and building things up.
And should also mention it's an indie game. One guy built it, and it's $20.
Oh yes, yeah, $20. And I see it on sale all the time.
Yeah.
Like it pops up on the Steam sales often.
Dude, I
definitely
go on.
I was just gonna say I definitely recommend taking a look at it. It may not be your slice of cake, but
it's definitely not mine.
Wouldn't hurt to check. I mean, yeah, but if you're into those kind of city building games, I do think that you'll enjoy it.
Oh yeah, they're popular for a reason. So I mean, people love them. I haven't even touched Mordor yet. I've barely had any time for video games. Honestly, my weekends have been pretty consumed, and work's been busy the past few weeks. So
don't talk to me about a backlog. I'm just now getting around to Kingdom Hearts.
Oh wow, nice. This was the time for me. This was my projected time to clear my backlog of gaming, and it's not working out. It's not happening. Huh? It's not happening at all. Stuff's about to start coming out for like the fall season. Oh man,
Oh yeah, I guess we never mentioned, but Meta left after the L5R stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we could have announced that.
If you didn't notice, he has to leave sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get home late. But yeah.
Probably
So-
has the most life out of the four of us, I feel like.
Yeah, probably. All right.
Well, he's got to, yeah.
This has been episode 18 of the podcast Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud. Now topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Fridays. Meta hasn't really been able to stream that much lately, but still give him a follow. I'm sure he'll be back to the grind eventually. He's at twitch.tv/PSOFlow. Follow us on our social media. We're on Twitter at Podcast5R, Facebook P5R Podcast. Really looking forward to seeing what clan we get to talk about next week, because we don't know yet. As of this
Unicorn.
recording, we're probably going to find out tomorrow during the L5R live thing.
Part of me thinks that it's going to be presented like the next two are going to be Phoenix and
Yeah, it could
Scorpion
be.
because the twins.
No,
And I bet it's Unicorn, then
it's
Phoenix.
Unicorn and Phoenix, I'm sure.
Oh no, I want Phoenix so bad.
Or, yeah, Phoenix and Unicorn to vote, I'm sure. Scorpion's going to be last.
Join us
Eh,
next
probably.
week for Unicorn. It's going to be Unicorn. Pony time. All right, see you guys later.
See y'all next week.
Bye.